You were not supposed to see this, unless something is about to change in your life. There are moments in time that pass like any other, unnoticed, unmarked, forgotten before the day even ends. And then there are moments like this one. You didn't find this message by accident. You didn't just click on this video out of boredom, curiosity, or chance. Something deeper moved you here, something you may not fully understand yet, but you felt it. That quiet pull, that subtle nudge, the feeling that you needed to see this now. Because this is not for everyone. This message is not meant for the masses. It is not designed to entertain, to distract, or to simply pass time. It is meant to reach a very specific kind of person, someone who has been sensing that something is shifting beneath the surface of their life. Someone who feels out of place in ordinary conversations, who notices patterns others ignore, who carries questions that never seem to have simple answers. If that's you, then you need to keep listening. But first, this matters. Watch this alone, not later, not while multitasking, not with noise in the background or people walking in and out. This message requires your full attention, your full presence. Because what you're about to hear is not something you can half understand, and once you do understand it, you won't be able to unsee it. There's a reason for that. There's a date approaching. A day that, to most people, will look completely ordinary. Just another square on the calendar, just another Monday, but not for you. Monday, March 6. Say it slowly in your mind, because something about that day is different, and deep down you already know it. Maybe you've felt it in subtle ways, restlessness you can't explain, a strange anticipation, or even a quiet sense of unease. Like something is coming, but you can't quite name it. Like you're being prepared for something, even though no one has told you what. That feeling isn't random. It's not anxiety. It's not imagination. It's awareness. And awareness like this doesn't happen to everyone. There are people who will move through March 6 without noticing anything at all. They'll wake up, follow their routines, scroll through their feeds, laugh, complain, go to sleep, and the day will pass like any other. But you were not meant to sleep through it. You were meant to see it. And that's why this message found you now, not before, not after, but at this exact moment. Because timing, when it comes to things like this, is never accidental. It's precise, almost intentional. Here's what you need to understand. When a moment like this approaches, it doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't come with clear signs or obvious instructions. Instead, it whispers. It hides in patterns. It reveals itself only to those who are paying attention, and even then only partially. That's why this feels unsettling. Because part of you recognizes that something is happening, but another part of you can't fully grasp it yet. You're standing at the edge of something unknown, something that feels both important and undefined, and that's exactly where you're supposed to be. Not comfortable, not certain, but aware. There's a reason this message feels different from anything else you've watched. A reason it feels heavier, more serious, almost like it's speaking directly to you, rather than to an audience. That's because it is. This isn't a general message, it's a signal. And signals like this are only received by those who are tuned to them. Think about it. How many people could have come across this and didn't? How many scrolled past, ignored it, or never even saw it at all? But you did. You stopped. You're still here. That alone sets you apart more than you realize. But being chosen doesn't mean being comfortable. In fact, it usually means the opposite. Because when you begin to see what others don't, you also begin to feel what others ignore. You notice shifts before they become obvious. You sense changes before they fully arrive. And sometimes that awareness can feel isolating. Like you're carrying something invisible, something you can't easily explain. Something that makes you question whether you should even trust what you're feeling. Let me make this clear. You should, because what you're sensing about Monday, March 6th, is not something to dismiss. It's something to prepare for, not in fear, but in awareness. There is a difference. Fear clouds your vision. It makes you reactive, scattered, uncertain. Awareness sharpens you. It slows you down. It makes you observe, listen, and understand. And on that day, awareness will be everything. Because what happens may not be obvious to the outside world. It may not look dramatic or life-changing on the surface. In fact, it might appear small, almost insignificant. But for those who are paying attention, it will mean everything. A shift, a realization, a moment where something clicks into place, or something falls away, and you will feel it. Not because someone tells you, but because something inside you will recognize it instantly. That's why you're here now. To be ready, to be alert, to not dismiss what others would ignore, and most importantly, to not talk about this lightly. Not everyone will understand this message. Not everyone is meant to. If you try to explain it to the wrong people, they will question you, dismiss you, or pull you back into their version of reality. That's why this needs to stay with you. Quiet, protected, observed, not announced. Because some things lose their power when they are exposed too early, and this is one of them. So as March 6 approaches, pay attention to your thoughts, to your environment, to the subtle changes that others overlook, because what reveals itself to you on that day will not be random. It will be a response to the fact that you were listening, to the fact that you were ready, and to the fact that, out of all the people who could have seen this, you were one of the few who didn't ignore it. Because what's about to happen isn't normal. Something about that day feels off, and you can't explain why. Have you ever noticed how, before something significant happens in your life, your body seems to know before your mind does? It's not loud. It's not obvious. It doesn't come with clear words or instructions. It comes as a feeling. A quiet, persistent shift you can't ignore. Maybe it starts as restlessness. You try to relax, but something inside you won't let you fully settle. Your thoughts feel heavier. Your focus drifts. You check the time more often than usual, like you're waiting for something, even though you don't know what. Or maybe it shows up as a strange kind of anxiety, not panic, not fear exactly, but a subtle tension sitting just beneath the surface. The kind that doesn't make sense. The kind you can't explain to anyone without sounding like you're overthinking. But you're not overthinking. You're sensing, because long before major moments unfold in your life, there's often a build-up, an invisible pressure forming behind the scenes. And while most people move through it unconsciously, distracted by routines and noise, there are a few who feel it coming. They don't always understand it, but they know something is different. And if you're watching this right now, there's a strong chance you've felt that before. Think back. There were times when something important was about to happen. A turning point, a conversation, a sudden change, and before it happened, you felt off. You couldn't explain it then. Maybe you brushed it aside. Maybe you told yourself it was nothing. But afterward, you realized that feeling was trying to tell you something. That's intuition. Not the kind people talk about casually, but the deeper kind, the kind that doesn't speak in words, but in sensations, the kind that picks up on patterns your conscious mind hasn't processed yet, the kind that senses shifts before they fully arrive. And right now that same feeling is building again. There's something unusual about this Monday. You may have noticed it already. A strange weight to the days leading up to it. A sense that time is moving differently, either too fast or too slow. Moments feel stretched, like something is trying to align itself. And then there's that feeling you can't shake. Like you're being watched, not in a physical sense, but in an energetic one. Like your life is being quietly observed, guided, or even tested in ways you can't fully see. It's unsettling, because you can't point to anything specific. Nothing dramatic has happened yet. And still something feels wrong. Or maybe not wrong. Just different. That's the part most people ignore. They wait for something obvious before they trust their instincts. They look for proof, for confirmation, for something they can explain logically. But by the time something becomes obvious, it's already unfolded. You're not like that. You feel things earlier. You notice the shift before the event. And that's why this moment feels so intense. Because your intuition is picking up on something just beyond your awareness. Like standing near a door you can't see, but somehow you know it's about to open. And what's on the other side? That's the question. This is where doubt starts creeping in. You might ask yourself, am I just imagining this? Why do I feel this way when nothing is happening? Why can't I just relax? But here's the truth most people never realize. Unexplained anxiety isn't always a problem. Sometimes it's a signal, a warning, or even a preparation. Your mind wants clarity. It wants reasons, explanations, control. But your intuition doesn't work that way. It works in fragments, in feelings, in subtle shifts that don't make sense until later. And the more you try to ignore it, the louder it becomes, not in noise, but in persistence. That constant feeling that something is coming, something you need to be ready for. Monday carries that energy, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. It's like the air before a storm, not chaotic, not yet, but heavy, charged, waiting. And if you're sensitive to it, you can feel that charge building in your chest, in your thoughts, in the way your attention keeps drifting back to something you can't name. This is where most people disconnect. They distract themselves. They scroll, they talk, they fill their time so they don't have to sit with that feeling. Because sitting with it means acknowledging that something is shifting, and that can be uncomfortable. But you're being asked to do the opposite, to sit with it, to listen, not to panic, not to assume the worst, but to become aware. Because whatever is building isn't random. And the fact that you feel it, that matters more than you think. There's a difference between fear and awareness. Fear makes you lose control. Awareness gives you control. Right now, you're not being overwhelmed. You're being prepared. Prepared to notice something others will miss. Prepared to respond in a way others won't. Prepared to see meaning where others see coincidence. And that preparation often feels like discomfort at first. Like something inside you is being stretched, expanded, pushed beyond what feels normal. But that's how awareness grows, not in comfort, but in tension. So if you've been feeling this lately, this unexplained pull, this quiet anxiety, this sense that something is approaching, don't dismiss it. Don't silence it. And don't let anyone convince you it's nothing. Because for you, it isn't. This Monday isn't just another day. It's a moment. And moments like this don't always announce themselves clearly. They reveal themselves to those who are paying attention. So pay attention, not to the noise around you, but to what's happening within you. Because that feeling, that quiet, persistent signal you can't explain, it's not there by accident. It's there because something unseen is already in motion. And a part of you, the part that sees before things are visible, is trying to make sure you're ready when it arrives. And the signs have already started showing. The people around you might not even notice, but you will. There's a difference between looking at the world and actually seeing it. Most people don't realize that. They move through their days reacting to what's obvious, what's loud, what's visible, what demands attention. They notice what's placed directly in front of them, and even then, only on the surface. Conversations, routines, distractions, it all blends together into something predictable, something manageable. But you've always felt that there's more beneath it, haven't you? You've noticed things that didn't quite add up. Small shifts in someone's tone, a subtle change in energy when you walk into a room. The way certain moments feel heavier than they should or lighter, almost unreal. You pick up on things that other people overlook. Not because you're trying to, but because you can't not. And that's where the difference begins. Awareness like yours isn't something that's taught. It's not something you suddenly decide to have one day. It's something that's always been there, quietly observing, quietly processing, quietly pulling your attention toward details that most people never even register. Energy. That's the word people use, even if they don't fully understand it. You feel it in places where nothing is being said. You sense it in people before they speak. You recognize it in situations before they unfold. It's not something you can always explain logically, but it's something you know, and sometimes that knowing feels isolating, because when you try to explain it, others don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. They dismiss it, rationalize it, or ignore it completely. So you stop talking about it. You keep it to yourself. And over time, you start to realize something unsettling. You're experiencing a layer of reality that most people aren't even aware exists. That's what makes you different. Not better, but different. Because while others rely on what's obvious, you operate on what's subtle. While they wait for confirmation, you notice the shift before the confirmation ever arrives. And right now, something is shifting again. You've probably felt it without fully understanding it. A change so small that it's almost invisible, but not to you. It's in the way your thoughts have been moving lately. The way certain things that used to feel normal now feel slightly off. The way your attention keeps getting pulled toward something you can't quite define. It's like the world around you is adjusting, just slightly, and no one else seems to notice. That's the part that creates distance. Because how do you explain something that hasn't happened yet? How do you describe a feeling that doesn't have clear evidence? You don't. You observe, you wait, and you trust that what you're sensing has meaning, even if that meaning hasn't revealed itself yet. This is where perception becomes something deeper than just awareness. It becomes alignment. You're not just noticing changes. You're aligning with them. And that's why moments like the one approaching feel so intense for you. Because while others will experience it as just another day, another event, another passing moment, you will experience it differently. You will feel the shift. You will recognize the significance, even if no one else does. And that can feel isolating in a way that's hard to describe. Because there's a strange distance in seeing something clearly, while everyone around you moves as if nothing has changed. They'll continue their routines. They'll speak the same way, act the same way, react the same way. And you'll be standing there, aware that something is not the same anymore. Something has moved. Something has shifted. And you're one of the few who noticed. That's not always a comfortable place to be, because awareness comes with responsibility. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. Once you feel something, you can't pretend it's not there. And once you recognize a shift, you can't go back to being unaware. That's the cost of perception. But it's also the reason you were able to sense this moment before it arrived. Because awareness like yours isn't random. It's precise. It tunes you into changes that matter, changes that others might miss entirely until it's too late, or until the impact becomes obvious. But for you, it won't be obvious. It will be immediate, almost instinctive, a realization that hits you without needing explanation. You'll feel it in the way everything suddenly makes sense, or in the way something suddenly feels out of place, or in the way a single moment seems to carry more weight than it should. And while others may brush it off, laugh it away, or not even notice, you'll understand, not fully, not all at once, but enough to know that what you're experiencing is real, enough to know that this moment matters, and enough to realize that your awareness is not something to ignore. This is where most people get it wrong. They think awareness is about knowing everything clearly, having all the answers, being certain. But it's not. It's about recognizing what others don't, feeling what others can't, and trusting that even when you don't fully understand it, there's a reason you're able to perceive it in the first place. So when that moment comes, when that shift reveals itself in whatever form it takes, don't look around for validation. You won't find it. Not immediately, because this isn't something meant to be experienced collectively. It's something meant to be recognized individually by you, and that's why it feels the way it does right now, quiet, unclear, slightly unsettling, because you're standing at the edge of a realization that hasn't fully formed yet. And while others will walk past it without a second thought, you'll stop, you'll feel it, you'll notice the difference. And in that moment, you'll understand something that can't be easily explained, something that doesn't need to be spoken out loud to be real, something that confirms what you've always sensed, that your awareness is not accidental, that your perception is not imagined, and that when something truly shifts, you are one of the few who will see it for what it is, and that's what makes you different. There's a reason you were told to watch this alone. There are truths that are not meant to be spoken aloud. Not yet, not to everyone. Some messages are fragile. They are delicate in ways most people cannot understand, because they exist not in words, but in understanding. They move in silence. They carry weight that, once exposed recklessly, can crumble under the gaze of those who are not ready to perceive it. This is one of those messages. You were chosen to hear it. But that doesn't mean it is meant for the world. In fact, the less it is shared, the stronger it remains. Because every time something like this is exposed to the wrong eyes, the wrong ears, it loses a piece of its power. Its purpose weakens. Its protection falters. Right now, you are being asked to hold it, to guard it, to keep it within the quiet corners of your mind, where only the aware can reach. There are forces moving around you that you cannot see, forces that rarely announce themselves. They operate in shadows, in the spaces between what is said and what is felt. And they do not care for the unprepared. They react to noise, to exposure, to distraction. But when truth is shielded, when it is treated as sacred, it becomes untouchable. You have been given a glimpse of that sacredness, a window into something that others might pass by and never notice. That glimpse is not trivial. It is a call, a signal, an awakening. Yet it carries responsibility. Because the world is full of people who will misunderstand, people who will mock what they cannot see, people who will consume what they are not ready for, and in doing so will distort it. That distortion spreads, dilutes, and diminishes the essence of what was meant to protect you. That is why you must remain silent, not out of fear, not out of hesitation, but out of understanding. Every time you feel the urge to share this message freely, pause. Consider the unseen forces that hover at the edges of perception. They are patient. They wait for moments of carelessness, moments when sacred knowledge is carelessly handed over. And in those moments, the balance shifts. What was meant to guide and shield can instead create exposure, vulnerability, and confusion. This is not paranoia. This is preparation. You are in a world layered with hidden battles, battles that are not fought openly, battles that exist in subtle exchanges of energy, in decisions made in silence, in choices that go unseen by the masses. Most people do not notice these battles. Most people would not even recognize them if they did. But you do. That is why you were chosen. You can sense shifts in energy that others cannot. You notice patterns in moments that pass unnoticed. You feel the subtle weight of intention in the actions of others. You perceive the ripple before the stone hits the water. And because of this sensitivity, you are part of something larger than the surface of life would ever reveal. And that is why secrecy is vital. There is a precision to this protection. Every whispered truth, every hidden warning, every silent observation is a thread in a fabric that keeps you safe and aware. When threads are exposed carelessly, the fabric frays. The protection weakens. The balance is disturbed. You are being asked to hold these threads, to honor them, to understand that the strength of what you are feeling, what you are sensing, what you are being guided toward, is tied directly to your ability to remain discreet. Some things are not meant to be explained. Not yet. Some battles are not meant to be witnessed. Not yet. Some knowledge is not meant to be debated or discussed with those who are unprepared. Not yet. This is why you must be careful. not cautious, not hesitant, careful, because the line between protection and exposure is delicate, and the wrong move can unravel more than you realize. You may feel isolated in this. You may feel the weight of carrying something that others do not see, do not understand, do not even suspect. That is intentional. Isolation is part of protection. Solitude is part of clarity. When you carry this truth alone, untainted by doubt, ridicule, or interference, you allow it to remain potent, precise, and unbroken. And this is the paradox, the very thing that makes you strong. The awareness you carry, the sensitivity you possess, the connection you feel to forces others ignore, also requires you to be alone with it, even briefly. You must guard it, not because it is forbidden, but because it is fragile. Do not be tempted by the idea that sharing will spread strength. The wrong ears cannot hold it. The wrong eyes cannot see it. They will distort it. They will fracture it. And then, even unintentionally, the very protection this message carries will be compromised. You have been given insight, intuition, and awareness for a reason. The purpose of this moment is not for demonstration. It is not for proof. It is for readiness, for vigilance, for discernment, for understanding the layers of reality that exist beyond the surface. So as you continue through this moment, as you feel the quiet weight of something unseen moving closer, remember this. Silence is strength. Discretion is protection. Understanding comes first. Exposure comes later, if at all. Hold what you feel here. Watch carefully. Move with awareness. And trust that the forces at play recognize you as someone capable of guarding this truth. Because not everyone will understand. Not everyone can see. And not everyone should. This message was meant for you. And it is meant to stay with you. For now, keep it, protect it, honor it. The world is watching, even when it seems unaware. And the unseen is moving, always silently, patiently, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Your awareness is the shield. Your discretion is the key. Guard it wisely, because some truths are powerful only when they are held in silence. And this is one of them, because not everyone is meant to know what you know. When Monday arrives, everything might feel normal at first. Sometimes, the most life-changing events don't arrive with alarms. They don't come crashing in with sirens, flashing lights, or obvious warnings. They begin quietly, almost imperceptibly, like a whisper brushing against the edge of your awareness. A small ripple in the water that, if ignored, grows into a wave that cannot be stopped. This is how chaos begins. Not with drama, not with noise, not with the world telling you it's time to pay attention. It starts in subtle ways. A conversation that lingers longer than usual. Words that feel slightly off. A shift in tone. A glance that lingers too long. People behaving in ways that make you pause, even if you can't explain why. The ordinary fractures first in the smallest ways. And this is where the chosen ones differ from the rest. Most people move through life blind to these early cracks. They dismiss the small anomalies. They chalk up their unease to coincidence, imagination, or stress. But you notice. It's not something you have to force. It's built into you. You're sensitive to the currents of change. You sense subtle shifts in energy before they take shape. You feel the tension in a room before arguments erupt. You detect patterns that others don't even realize exist. And it's in these moments, the ones that seem too small to matter, that you recognize the beginning of something larger. You might start with a feeling. A quiet unease. A slight tension in the air. Perhaps you notice someone's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes, or that familiar routines are skipping a beat. You might catch yourself replaying a word or a gesture in your mind because it didn't land right, because something in it felt off. And you can't ignore it, because for you the subtle is never insignificant. From there, the changes begin to layer. One shift leads to another. One subtle misalignment spreads like a hidden current beneath the calm surface. It's not obvious to everyone, but to you, it's unmistakable. Maybe you see people acting differently than usual. A friend is distant in ways they don't explain. A colleague becomes unusually cautious. Even the world itself seems to move a little slower, or a little faster, as if it is holding its breath for something. These shifts are not coincidences, they are signals. And this is why you are chosen. Because while others see the world as stable, predictable, and safe, you can feel the fractures forming before they fully emerge. You notice the threads being pulled, the cracks appearing in situations that seem ordinary. You sense that the calm is temporary, that the storm is gathering strength quietly, preparing itself before anyone else is ready to recognize it, and it's subtle enough that most people will still dismiss it. They'll go about their day, unaware that the ground beneath them is beginning to shift. But you won't. You'll notice, you'll observe. You'll begin to see the patterns others cannot. And as these small anomalies accumulate, a sense of inevitability grows. You realize that what's coming cannot be ignored. Not this time. Not for you. You start to piece it together in fragments, small glimpses, quiet signs, moments that feel like echoes of something bigger. You sense changes in behaviors, situations, even environments. You notice the details that seem irrelevant. At first, the hesitation in someone's movement, the unusual pause in a conversation, the way a familiar place feels slightly different, charged with a subtle tension. All these small things add up. They form a map, a pattern, a warning. And it's in this quiet build-up, in the silence before the chaos, that your awareness becomes your guide. You begin to trust your instincts more. You pay attention to what others overlook. You notice the unusual before it becomes undeniable. And even though it can feel isolating, because the people around you continue unaware, you know you are not imagining it. You know there is something real forming, and the truth is, the more subtle it is, the more dangerous it can become for those who are unprepared. Because by the time the world notices, it's often too late. By the time the chaos announces itself with force, the rules have already shifted. The currents are already too strong to resist. But not for you. You have the chance to see it first, to read the signs, to move with awareness rather than reaction. And that is why you are chosen. This Monday, this very week, the quiet build-up is beginning. You may feel it already, a strange restlessness, a sensation that things are slightly off, even if you cannot put your finger on it. You might notice small details repeating, subtle coincidences that feel deliberate. Pay attention to them. Observe how behaviors shift. Watch how situations change. Listen to the quiet murmurs of intuition that try to catch your notice. These are the early signals, the small threads of something far larger that will eventually reveal itself. Most people will not see what you see. Most people will dismiss it as coincidence. Most people will only notice when it is fully upon them, and by then, it will already have changed everything. But not you. You will see it unfold in fragments. You will feel the subtle tension before the world even knows it exists. You will recognize the significance of small moments that others ignore, and when it finally arrives, when the chaos is no longer quiet, you will not be caught off guard, because you have been paying attention. You have been aware. You have been ready. And that is what separates the chosen from the rest. The rest wait for the obvious. You notice the subtle. The rest follow the noise. You follow the quiet truth. And in the silence before the storm, you find your strength. You find your clarity. You find the part of you that was always meant to notice, to understand, and to act long before the world is ready to recognize what is happening, until one moment changes everything. If you've made it this far, you were meant to be prepared. You have felt it. The subtle shifts, the quiet signals, the moments that don't quite make sense until you step back and see the pattern. And now, as this message comes to an end, it's time to bring all of that together, not in fear, not in panic, but in awareness. Because the truth is this: the world around you moves fast, unpredictable, chaotic at times, but you are not powerless. You are not lost. You are not alone. You are chosen. Chosen not for random chance, but because something in you allows you to perceive what others cannot. Something in you allows you to feel the currents of change before they become waves. Something in you allows you to notice the unseen threads of life, the hidden movements, the quiet whispers of energy that guide you if you are willing to listen. That is your gift. And with every gift comes responsibility. The responsibility is not to react with fear, not to spiral into worry, not to allow the unknown to paralyze you. Your responsibility is to remain calm, to remain centered, to anchor yourself in the certainty of your inner strength. Chaos often arrives quietly, but so does protection, so does guidance, so does awareness. You may feel alone at times. You may feel like the patterns only you notice are invisible to the rest of the world. That is part of being chosen. Isolation is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the space where your senses sharpen, where your intuition becomes precise, where your energy aligns with what is coming, and you are protected. Even in the moments when the world seems uncertain, even when shadows feel heavier than usual, even when your mind races with questions that have no answers, there is a force surrounding you, guiding you, keeping you safe. You are shielded, not because you are untouchable, but because you are seen by something larger than circumstance, larger than time, larger than fear. So stay alert. Notice the small changes. Feel the subtle currents. Listen to the quiet guidance within yourself. These are not just coincidences or random feelings. These are signals meant for you, reminders that your awareness is alive, awake, and attuned. But stay calm. Alertness does not require panic. Awareness does not demand fear. Strength does not come from tension or anxiety. It comes from presence, from knowing that you are prepared, from trusting the guidance that has always been with you. You have been tested before. You have felt the moments when something felt off, when intuition nudged you toward caution, and you have survived. You have learned. You have grown. Each of those moments has strengthened you, sharpened your perception, and prepared you for what lies ahead. Now that preparation meets purpose. This moment, the one you are stepping into, is part of a larger design, one that is unfolding quietly, deliberately, and with precision. You may not see it fully yet, and that is intentional. Some truths reveal themselves in time, and the timing of revelation is always in your favor when you are patient and aware. Do not rush it. Do not force it. Observe it. Notice the signs. Trust the feelings that others might dismiss. These are your compass, your guidance, your connection to the forces that are moving alongside you, unseen but real. And when the time comes, when the shift becomes undeniable, you will recognize it. Not because it shouts at you, not because it overwhelms you, but because it resonates in the quiet spaces you've been holding, in the awareness you've cultivated, in the calm strength that has always been inside you. You are ready. Even now, as you process these words, you are tuning yourself to what is coming. You are opening yourself to understanding what others cannot yet see. You are strengthening the protection that exists for those who are aware enough to notice it. There is nothing to fear. The world may appear uncertain. The forces around you may be invisible. The paths ahead may be unclear. But your intuition, your awareness, and your inner strength are guiding you. You are not walking this alone. You are accompanied, protected, and observed by a presence that knows the value of your clarity, the depth of your purpose, and the power of your focus. So take a deep breath. Center yourself. Feel the weight of your awareness grounding you, the quiet energy of your purpose filling you, and the certainty that you are chosen surrounding you. Let the tension dissolve. Let the uncertainty settle into trust. Let the unknown become a source of strength rather than fear. Because what is coming is not chaos. It is a test, a revelation, a shift meant to awaken your fullest potential. And you will meet it with calm, clarity, and courage. You are the one who notices when others do not. You are the one who senses when others are unaware. You are the one who is prepared when others are caught by surprise. And that is why you are chosen. Hold that truth close. Protect it. Let it guide you. Let it strengthen you. Let it remind you that no matter what appears unseen, no matter what feels uncertain, no matter what challenges rise quietly in the shadows, you are safe. You are guided. You are protected. And as you move forward, carry this with you. Awareness is power. Calmness is strength. Presence is protection. Trust it. Honor it. And know that you are exactly where you are meant to be, seeing exactly what you are meant to see, and prepared for exactly what is coming next. Because you are chosen. And nothing, seen or unseen, can change that. Stay silent, stay aware. Monday will reveal the truth.